All right, everybody. Well, welcome to the podcast. Aaron and I are doing about cheese. Aaron, this was your topic. What do you want to talk about?
Oh wait. Um.
Favorite types of cheese? Uh, what cheese is bad?
Yeah. Let's talk. How about before we get to that? I feel like that's a good closer.
Okay,
Let's
okay,
talk about how cheese smells.
okay. All right. So I mean, cheese smells okay. Um, Whenever there's an excess of it, though, it can get pretty gnarly. But have you ever? I mean, you grew up in the South. You've seen those wheels of cheese, right?
Of
Homemade cheese.
course,
I mean,
brie
that's
cheese,
like
bro.
that's brie cheese. I don't think that's brie.
Well, they come brie. There are many wheels of cheese, but brie cheese comes in a wheel.
Well, that's interesting. I mean,
See,
there's also cheddar cheese.
this is the kind of things you learn in this podcast.
I mean, yeah, this is gonna be an
See,
uh, informative podcast for the
because I mean, you can talk about savage things like football or
Sure.
music all day long. But this is a podcast of culture.
That's
You know,
true. Nobody.
we talk about refined, high class things, and this is where maybe we can elevate some people. Riley, we can elevate people, and
Yeah, yeah. Okay, so continuing our conversation on cheese. I mean, I mean, I'm just trying. So you talked about the smell. Like, what about the smell? What about it?
that's what
Do you
I'm
like
asking
the
you.
smell? Do you
What
like the smell?
what's up with that? Like cheese, the smell. What's up with that?
Do you like the smell, Aaron?
Some cheeses, when you go into a Mexican restaurant and you say, "Let me get some queso," they bring it out.
Ooh,
Mm, mm.
queso has not even came into my mind whenever this whole conversation,
And
this whole like
here, let me
3 minutes.
drop a little knowledge for some of those uncultured people. Riley, Mark, um, queso means cheese in Spanish.
Bingo. Bingo. So whenever we talk about cheese, it's often used as a compliment. Um, ha-
Or also, let's not forget when you're taking a picture. What do people say? Cheese. It makes you smile.
oh
That's not
wow,
a coincidence. That is not a coincidence.
yeah, and then it's kind of evolved into like you're cheesing, like cheesing
Oh,
for the
we have
kid.
our first viewer question.
What kind of cheese will? What type of cheese will you talk about? This is a question from Mark Lockard. Um, I mean, we're
Typical.
talking about all kinds of cheese. We're talking about the verbiage of cheese. We're talking about brie cheese, cheddar cheese.
Mhm.
Um, I mean, wheels of cheese. What state is best at making cheese? I feel like it's obviously Wisconsin, right?
What state?
Yeah, what
Yes,
state?
probably Wisconsin, but not country. There's
What country is it?
Switzerland, France,
Mm,
Italy, Spain. Basically, anywhere in Europe probably makes good
that
cheese.
is true. Spain. Oh wait, no, Italy makes some good mozzarella cheese. Now, oh, and I didn't even think about Swiss cheese. It literally originates from Switzerland.
All right.
Do you like holes in cheese?
Holden's a cool guy, yeah. So I
Okay.
I think I'd say yeah. Um, Here's a fun fact: the word cheese comes from the Latin uh, Cassius, which from which the modern word casein is also derived. The earliest source is from the Proto-Indo-European root quat, which means to ferment or become sour.
Ooh. So is so that's how cheese is made, right? It's fermented milk. Is that what I'm getting at? I don't know the process of
Yeah, you just let it rot, baby. You let it rot.
So whenever we eat like cheddar cheese, and it's yellow,
Yes.
that that means that it's the discoloring resulting from the fermentation process, right?
I I would say so. Here, let's look up the process of making cheddar.
Because
Process.
that actually kind of sounds disgusting. I mean, I don't think they're pulling out cows that do yellow milk.
Well, if you
I know
think
milk
about it, I
chocolate,
mean,
but it's
just
colored
the
milk.
act of drinking milk in the first place is pretty disgusting.
Yes,
So
it's very primitive, very primitive.
it is primitive. That's why elite people like us
Mm.
drink almond milk, oat milk,
Soy milk,
cashew milk.
coconut milk.
So everyone knows that cheddar is a type of cheese. But what is cheddaring? Cheddaring is a cheese making process, okay? That cheese must go through to become cheddar. Why? Cheddaring gives the cheese a dense, layered texture. So, what happens during cheddaring? Well, after curds form during the cheese making process,
Mm.
they're cut up into smaller pieces to expel liquid, which, by the fact, is whey. Whey.
The protein.
The smaller the curds are cut, the more liquid drains from them, and the more liquids that drain from the curds, the firmer the cheese is. So this step of cutting the curds is used in when making all types of cheeses, but is taken one step further during the process of making cheddar cheese. So to make cheddar in particular, the curds are cut up but then pressed together into slabs. So the
Whoa.
slabs are stacked on top of each other, and then the weight of stacking the slabs of curds on top of one another presses out even more moisture. Then the slabs of curds are cut up again. Okay? They're cut up again, and then they're pressed into slabs again and stacked again. So this is cheddaring. That is how cheddar cheese is
That
made until so much whey is expelled after aging that the cheese has a crumbly, layered, dense texture.
that is a complicated process. It's kind of
Yeah,
like
it first
making
started in
wine.
England.
It's kind of like making wine. Kind of. It's a very long drawn out process. I'm interested who thought of this. Like who thought, hey, let's go ahead and go through this long, arduous process so we can get something that we're not even sure is really even that good.
I think it was Ronald Reagan.
I don't know about that. I think it might have been Jimmy Carter. He seemed more brokering on peace.
Let's meet in the middle and say George Washington Carver.
Hey, if you ever carve cheese, people do carve cheese. You make it like into little figurines.
That is culture if I've ever seen it.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah,
And you mentioned wine. That's going to be on our next podcast because wine is a high culture thing that many people, Nicholas, don't know about.
that
And so,
that is true. People need to be more cultured. Um, so I think, all right. So this is going to be our second to last topic on cheese, just because we want to give the people a little bit of culture. We don't want to. We want them to experience it themselves. You know. I know. We're trying our hardest.
Order.
We're trying our hardest. Let me tell you. Okay, so what would be your what what do you pair with cheese? What makes the best pairing with cheese?
Depends on
And let's go ahead and knock it out and say that wine is the best pairing. And then so what else will we choose
well,
aside from wine?
you can't just put any wine with any cheese. It depends on the cheese and it depends on the wine. It depends on the presentation. So let's
The more of
say
a red wine kind of deal?
so
More
let's say uh Havarti cheese, okay? So that's creamy, it's
mm-hmm,
buttery,
mm-hmm.
okay? It's got like an herby taste. What are you gonna pair that with? Well, you can pair it with some crisp apples, maybe some pears, and maybe like a glass of Riesling, or maybe a cold lager. Okay, but then let's say you have, I don't know, feta cheese. Yeah, we'll say feta cheese. So that's crumbly, a
Yep,
little bit salty. It's
yep,
tart.
yep.
So something that might go with that. You might maybe some olives. Okay, maybe some roasted peppers, maybe some like little crackers, well, some water
Mm-hmm.
crackers. Okay, what kind of wine? Maybe like a red Zinfandel. Mm?
Mm.
Mm. Maybe
I my
sparkling,
taste buds are tingling.
a sparkling white. So it really depends on the cheese, But as for fruits, there are fruits, apple slices, pear, grapes, muscadines,
Oh.
cranberries, raspberries. You can go with all sorts of crackers. You can have rosemary crackers. You can have uh, just any type of cracker, just regular water crackers. You can have wheat crackers. You can have you can have jams. You can have purees. You can have like a peach puree. You can have apple jelly. You can have any type of thing. You can have honey. Honey is a great pairing.
Whew, whew. Hey, I just thought of a great idea. This might be two or three episodes down the road. We don't want to leave the people hanging after this great idea.
A little spoiler.
A fantasy draft for a charcuterie board.
I don't know how the point system would work, but I'm in. Okay, because
Yes,
I'm in my head. I'm already picking up my draft.
exactly, exactly. All right,
first
all right. So
first
we're
round, I'm going.
hey,
Uh,
hey, hey, Aaron.
okay,
We gotta
okay. I
let the
won't get
people
ahead
wait
of
for it.
us.
We gotta
So
let the people wait for it. I know. I told you it was a great idea. We gotta,
I know
we
who's
gotta,
I know
we
who's
gotta
getting
keep
last
it
place. I know who's getting last place in this.
Oh,
Riley.
yeah. And
Riley.
you're looking at him right there, and it's not me.
Oh, no, you cheeky bastard.
Okay, so last question. We want to cap it off. We talked about it earlier. Favorite type of cheese?
Um, that's a toughie. That's a toughie. I might have to go with smoked Gouda.
Hmm, hmm. Very interesting. I think I'm gonna go American. Just kidding. American justice. The people
I
think
haven't had American cheese since I was in the womb.
think about having. Hey. I bet Nicholas and Riley have American cheese. And I bet they have it for dinner every night. I bet
I
they.
bet they were saying, "Good choice, Kirby."
But seriously, I was
Literal.
I was talking about it earlier. I really love my wheel of cheddar cheese. It's what I grew up with. It's just you can't beat it. It doesn't get too fancy, but it's still cultured. You know.
Yeah, it lets you it kind of humbles you. It brings you down to the peasants level, like Mark or Nicholas or Nico, and then you can kind of see things from their point of view. It's very humbling. It's a delicious cheese as well. Very, very consistent. You can always depend on it. It's dependable, you
Yeah,
know.
it's the Swiss Army knife of cheeses.
It really is. Even though Swiss cheese is a whole different topic that we'll
Yes,
hit on episode 6.
yes, yes,
But
indeed. All right. Well, thank you for joining me, Aaron. It's been a real pleasure. Uh, this is coming up next week. We're going to be talking about wine, the fineries of it, the
and
process,
we could have a special guest, possibly
possibly,
someone who's traveled to Italy and tasted wines. Someone
possibly. Would you want to give a hint on that?
Jamie Haley.
Good choice. I really like it.
Cultured people. But that's it, and I hope that our viewers learn something. I hope that maybe they stop drooling on themselves, start wearing shoes, maybe start voting in a particular path.
Yeah.
Maybe stop disrespecting the flag.
All right. All right. Hold on. Okay. And with that little hot take, we're going to end this podcast. Thank you all for tuning in. Make sure to like, comment,
Comment,
subscribe.
subscribe. Black Lives Matter.
Goodbye.